It was 11:58 p.m. The city was buried in deep sleep. Only the tired yellow glow of streetlights lay scattered across the empty roads. Old newspapers drifted through the darkness with the gusts of wind, moving like restless souls searching for a path. Somewhere in the distance, stray dogs barked. With every bark, the silence grew heavier. Amid this silence, Arav stood in one corner of the bus stand. He kept checking his watch. Then he turned on his phone screen, then slipped it back into his pocket, then pulled it out again. Sweat beads covered his forehead, and anxiety filled his eyes, anxious to get home. Frustrated, Arav muttered to himself, "Seriously, today of all days my phone battery had to die, and there's no network either. It's like everything disappears the moment you come here. And why does this bus stand feel so deserted tonight?" Arav paced restlessly. Suddenly, he noticed something moving beneath a bench in the darkest corner of the bus stop. An old beggar sat there, dressed in torn, filthy clothes. His hair was messy, and he was drawing strange symbols on the ground with a piece of coal or stone. Startled, Arav stepped back and said, "Hey, sir, since when have you been here? I didn't notice you." Without lifting his head, the beggar continued drawing and said, "I've always been here. I was here before you came, and I'll still be here when you're gone." His voice sounded like a broken flute, strange and unsettling. Hesitantly, Arav asked, "Do you know when the bus will arrive? I need to go into the city. It's already very late." The beggar stopped moving his hand. Slowly, he lifted his head. His face was deeply wrinkled, but his eyes were completely white, as if he had cataracts, or maybe he was blind. Laughing, the beggar said, "The bus will come. Tonight it will definitely come." His gross laughter sounded like dry leaves rustling. "The bus will come, son. It has to come. It's hungry." Confused, Arav replied, "Hungry? What nonsense are you talking about, Baba? Just tell me, will the bus come or not?" The beggar smiled and said, "It will come. Route number 77. The ride of death will surely come." Saying this, the old man suddenly stood up and began to walk away. Panicked, Arav called out, "Where are you going, Baba?" The beggar slowly turned back, his white eyes fixed on Arav. His lips didn't move, not a single word was spoken. He turned forward again, and within a few steps disappeared into the thick fog. Now Arav was truly scared. Looking around, he whispered, "Someone, please show up. An auto, a bike, anything. Staying here doesn't feel right." The air grew colder, an unnatural cold that didn't just touch the skin, but sank deep into the bones. Suddenly, the silence was torn apart by a sound. A heavy engine coughing, tired and strained, like an ancient beast running on its last breath. Arav looked up. Through the fog, two dim yellow headlights slowly approached. It was a bus, a very old bus, so old that its original color was unrecognizable, just layers of dust and black soot. The windows were so dirty that nothing inside was clearly visible. Relieved, Arav said, "Thank God, at least the bus is here. It looks like a government bus. I don't care about its condition, just get me home." He tried to read the number plate. Through the dust, only one thing was visible: RJ4. The rest was erased. The door of the bus creaked open slowly, very slowly. Inside was darkness. Only a small bulb near the driver's seat flickered weakly. Arav hesitated. Then a voice came from the darkness. The conductor spoke in a dry, lifeless tone. "If you want to board, do it quickly. This is the last bus on this route." Stuttering, Arav asked, "Uncle, this bus goes through the bypass, right?" The conductor replied, "We don't decide the route. The passengers do. If you want to come, get in." The words were strange, but Arav had no time to think. After waiting for hours, he climbed the steps. The moment he stepped inside, it felt like entering a cold, sealed tunnel. The air smelled of wet soil, rusted iron, and rotting clothes. The seats were torn, springs stuck out. Dust coated the windows so thickly that the city outside looked like blurry shadows. There were only 5 passengers, and the silence was so deep that Arav could hear his own breathing. He sat on an empty seat. Right in front of him sat a bride, red sari, red and white bangles, anklets on her feet, her veil half drawn. Her head leaned against the window. She didn't move, not even her breathing. 2 seats ahead, a man sat with his head bowed. He didn't move, didn't look at anyone. Arav glanced behind him. On the last seat in the corner sat a young woman. Her shoulders moved slowly, rhythmically, as if she were crying silently. Arav thought, a bride dressed for a wedding at this hour, and that girl crying, and no one even asking why? The bus started moving. As it passed under a streetlight, Arav saw the girl again. He could hear her sobs clearly, but her cheeks were completely dry, not a single tear. Goosebumps rose on Arav's skin. He quickly looked away and noticed an elderly woman sitting beside him. She wore an old, soaked shawl, her face hidden inside it. Nervously, Arav asked, "Mother, is water leaking from the roof? Your shawl is completely wet." She didn't respond. She kept staring into her lap. Arav followed her gaze. Something was dripping. Not water. Wet black soil. The woman remained silent. The bus had now left the city. Outside was only darkness and forests rushing past on both sides. Arav's heart pounded. He looked at the bride again. She sat in the same position. He glanced at the window reflection. He could clearly see his own face, but the bride's face was missing. Only an empty seat reflected back. Trembling, Arav whispered, "No, how is this possible?" The crying from the back suddenly grew louder. Gathering courage, Arav asked, "Sister, are you okay?" The crying stopped instantly. The girl slowly lifted her head and whispered, "We've almost arrived." Arav asked, "Arrived where? There hasn't been a stop yet." She replied, "We're going where no one ever returns from." As she spoke, all the passengers slowly turned toward Arav. Their eyes glowed unnaturally. Their faces hardened, as if their true forms were emerging. Terrified, Arav screamed, "Stop the bus! Stop it! I want to get off!" No one reacted. The bus sped up. The engine screamed. Arav stumbled towards the driver's cabin. "Can't you hear me? Stop the bus!" The driver slowly raised his head toward the mirror. What Arav saw made his soul shake. The driver's face wasn't a face. It was burned flesh. Where eyes should be, only black hollow pits. The driver's lips didn't move, but his voice echoed through the bus. "This bus has no stop, son. Once you board, the journey must be completed." Ahead was the deadly turn, the cliff where the accident had happened 10 years ago. The darkness of the ravine was visible. Death was calling. The driver growled, "Sit down, boy. No one gets off before the ride ends." The passengers stood up.
The bride, the man, the crying girl, the old woman, their eyes were now just like the driver's, empty and black. They moved towards Arav. Whispering voices echoed, "Sit down. Come with us." The bus reached the edge. The wheels left the ground. The bus hung in the air. Arav had only one choice. Behind him, death. Ahead, death. Screaming, Arav leapt into the darkness. A rush of air. A scream. Black screen. Machine sounds. Arav opened his eyes. A white ceiling. The sharp smell of hospital medicine. His mind was blank. He tried to speak. His lips moved, but no sound came out. He tried to lift his hand. Nothing. Tried to move his legs. He couldn't feel them. A doctor and a police inspector entered. The doctor said, "He survived. It's a miracle." The inspector asked, "But his condition?" The doctor replied,